Petiole Pro represents the AI in Agriculture podcast where technology shapes the future of farming.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for a deep dive?
Right.
Today, we're going green.
Oh, like sustainable practices.
Not exactly. Think like leaves and photosynthesis green. We're talking about plants.
Ah, got it. And what about them?
Well, you can tell if a plant's thriving or barely surviving just by looking.
Sure, we all had that one houseplant, right?
Exactly. But what if we could measure those differences, get scientific about it?
You mean beyond, like, is it wilting?
Way beyond. We're diving into plant phenotyping, essentially, checking a plant's vital signs.
Okay, so how do we do that?
That's the cool part. This research uses something you probably have on you right now.
My phone.
Yep, or, well, the camera on it. Scientists are using simple digital cameras to unlock a ton of info about plant health.
Seriously? Just snapping pics of plants. It's wild, right? And the best part, this research isn't just for folks in high-tech labs. It can help everyone from, like, farmers to everyday gardeners. So we're looking at this brand new research paper, hot off the presses. Conley and their team haven't even gone through peer review yet.
Oh, so cutting edge.
Totally. They wanted to see what we could learn about plants using, like, a regular camera and some clever analysis. No fancy equipment needed.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So they didn't go for any high-tech setup. Just a typical greenhouse, a camera most of us could afford.
Keeping it relatable.
Right. And, get this, a DIY lightbox made out of cardboard.
Whoa, that's some serious resourcefulness.
I know, right? Talk about budget-friendly science. Okay, so what about the plant models for this photo shoot?
They studied tiff-tuff Bermuda grass.
Tiff what now?
Tiff-tuff. It's a tough type of turf grass, known for handling drought like a champ.
Okay, makes sense. Gotta pick a hardy subject for research like this.
Exactly. And to see what it could really handle, they controlled how often it was mowed and how much water it got.
Like, some got a buzz cut, others went for the shaggy look.
Yeah, basically. And then they monitored their water intake. A controlled comparison.
Makes sense. Helps isolate the effects of each treatment. So, we've got the photos. How do we go from snapshots to actual science?
Good question.
Like, are we talking Instagram filters analyzing plant health?
Not quite. They took those color photos, the RGB kind of.
Red, green, blue, the classics.
Exactly. And they analyzed things like how much of each image showed healthy green grass versus yellowing areas, or even bare spots.
So, like, more yellow equals a stressed out plant.
Exactly. Color reveals a lot about a plant's well-being.
So they're basically, like, decoding the language of color, right?
Yeah, you could say that. And to get even more specific, they use these things called color indices.
Okay, getting technical now.
A little bit, but
Okay.
stay with me. One of these, called DGCI, that's Dark Green Color Index, it's like a measure of the plant's inner greenness.
So the higher the DGCI, the healthier the turf.
Exactly. It's like a measure of how vibrant and alive the grass is.
Like a plant's inner glow. The brighter, the better. Okay, I'm following. What else did they find?
Well, they didn't just stop at DGCI. They got creative and actually developed their own color metrics, HSVI and BA, which revealed even more correlations with the plant's health.
Wow, so like totally new ways of looking at color data.
Exactly. It's like they were looking for patterns that no one had even thought to look for before.
I love that kind of ingenuity.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that they use Python for all this data crunching.
Right. Python's a programming language that's becoming more and more user-friendly, even for folks who aren't coding wizards.
Yeah, which means that this kind of research could be accessible to a much wider audience.
Absolutely. It's all about breaking down those barriers and making science more democratic.
Okay, enough about the how. Let's get to the good stuff, the discoveries. What did they actually find after analyzing all those photos?
All right, so buckle up. They found that the amount of yellow in the image was a really strong predictor of how visually appealing people found the turf grass. Basically, more yellow equals a less attractive lawn.
Okay, that one seems a little obvious, right? Most people would probably agree that a lush green lawn is more appealing than a patchy yellow one.
True. But remember, we're talking about putting numbers on something that's often subjective. It's about quantifying those differences. And get this, remember DGCI, that inner greenness measure?
Yeah, the plant's inner glow.
Right, so it turns out that wasn't just about looks. They found that our higher DGCI was linked to how much biomass, that's the plant material that turf grass was producing.
So not only did a higher DGCI mean a prettier lawn, but it also meant a more productive one.
Exactly, more bang for your buck, so to speak. But here's where it gets really interesting. They discovered that one of their new color indices, COMB2, was correlated with how much water the plants were using.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying they could actually tell how thirsty a plant was just by looking at a picture?
It's certainly suggestive. This finding could be incredibly valuable, especially as water becomes more and more scarce in many parts of the world.
I can see how that would be huge for farmers and, anyone concerned about water conservation. This is amazing.
Right, it's like they've unlocked a secret code.
And it gets even wilder. Some of their simple color-based metrics were actually showing similar trends to data gathered from those super high-tech spectral reflectance sensors.
The really expensive ones that measure wavelength of light we can't even see.
Yeah, those. So this research is basically achieving comparable results with way simpler tech.
Exactly. It's a testament to the power of thinking outside the box.
Okay, but before we get too carried away, we do need to talk about limitations. Every study has them, right?
Of course, of course. So for starters, they were working with 2D images, which obviously can't capture the full 3D structure of a plant. It's like the difference between a photograph and a sculpture. You get a good sense of it, but not the complete picture.
Right. Makes sense. Anything else?
Well, they were only taking pictures every other week. And while that gives you valuable data, plant growth is dynamic, right? Changes happening day to day, even hour to hour. More frequent captures would give a more granular view.
Okay, so like trying to understand a movie by only watching every other scene, you might miss some key details.
Precisely. And they controlled for mowing and watering. But remember, plant growth is affected by a whole symphony of environmental factors. Temperature, humidity, nutrient levels, even things like air circulation or the spectrum of light.
A whole lot going on behind the scenes that a single snapshot can't capture.
Exactly. So while this research provides a fantastic foundation, future studies could explore those other variables and how they interact.
Sounds like a whole world of possibilities. So we've seen how this research works, but let's talk about WHY. Why even care about plant phenotyping being more accessible?
Right. What's the big impact?
Exactly.
Well, think about it. This approach could be huge for researchers in, say, developing countries or those working with limited resources.
Makes sense. Not everyone has access to cutting-edge labs and equipment.
Exactly. But imagine being able to do this kind of research with a camera and some ingenuity. That's leveling the playing field.
Totally. Democratizing science, in a way.
And it's not just about research either. Think about plant breeding.
Okay. How so?
If you can screen tons of plants quickly and easily, you can find those with the best traits way faster. Higher yields, disease resistance, drought tolerance.
So developing crops that can handle a changing climate.
Exactly. Food security is a big deal, and this could play a part. Plus, there's the citizen science angle.
Oh, right. Getting more people involved, not just professionals.
Imagine classrooms doing plant phenotyping projects, adding to real-world research. That's exciting.
It is. But with all these potential benefits, are there any hurdles?
Oh, for sure. One of the big ones is the need for standardized protocols and data sharing.
Why is that so crucial?
Well, imagine trying to compare data from different studies, but everyone used different cameras, different lighting, different analysis techniques. It'd be chaos.
Yeah, like trying to understand a conversation where everyone's speaking a different language.
Exactly. Standardization is about creating that common language, so apple is an apple, no matter who's measuring it.
Makes sense. You need that foundation for collaboration and progress.
Absolutely. And that data sharing part, that's key for accelerating any scientific field.
It's like working together to build something amazing instead of everyone constantly reinventing the wheel. Speaking of, we started with turfgrass, but could this approach work for other plants too?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's what makes this research so exciting. While this study focused on tiff-tuff Bermuda grass, the ideas behind it could definitely apply to other species.
So it's about adapting the analysis to the specific plant.
Exactly. For corn, maybe you'd focus on leaf angle or tassel size, not just color. For wheat, it might be the number of tillers or how dense the grain heads are. Endless possibilities.
It's like opening a door to a whole new world of plant exploration.
And anyone with a camera can come along.
Exactly. It's not just for scientists anymore. Imagine farmers using their phones to monitor their crops in real time. Or gardeners tracking their tomatoes with a click.
The future of personalized agriculture.
I love it. Okay, to wrap things up, we've learned plant phenotyping, which sounds super complex, can be done with something as simple as a digital camera.
And by analyzing those images, we can learn so much about a plant's health, productivity, even how much water it's using.
This research is a game changer, opening up this field to a much wider audience. Students, breeders, citizen scientists.
It's a call to action. Time to see plants in a whole new light.
So next time you spot a plant, don't just see its beauty. See it as a source of data, a mystery to unravel. Grab your camera. Get curious. Who knows what you'll discover? Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.